Laura here. I'm here today to do my top 10 Tuesday, and this week's theme was books that that you push through and you didn't really like, but you like that you read just for, either just for sure like ability to get through the book or for bragging rights. And this was kind of hard for me to pick books because I normally don't gravitate towards books that I know I won't like enjoy. So I rarely DNF books, and that is there will be a video later this month or next month that talks about DNFing books, and I will talk to you guys a little bit about my stance on that. I rarely DNF, but these are just some books, and I'm sure if you've watched my videos recently or for a while, you guys will know these titles, but I did get a lot of new subscribers in the past couple of weeks, so because of my various giveaways that I was hosting. So these might be new to you, so I'm going to tell it again, and I guess it's just lucky that I really haven't had that many books that I don't like. So yeah, let's get into it. Oh, the obligatory. If these books are your absolute favorite and you love it, I apologize, but this is just my honest thoughts. If you guys really like these books, I'm glad that you enjoyed them. They just did not work for me as well as I would have hoped they would have, so that's my disclaimer. The first book I'm going to chat about, I don't think is much surprise to anybody, but that is the Twilight series by Stephanie Meyer. Overall, I had a lot of issues with the Twilight series by Stephanie Meyer, and the female characters and the way that she depicted Bella and Edward's relationship was something that I just could never really get behind, and I blame the fact that I went to Wells, so, because I was going to a mostly feminist college, or like a purely all women's college, mostly all women. We just went co-ed the year before I got there. It was very, very hard, bitter pill to swallow, but I did finish it. But in like general book writing, I just didn't think it was written very well. And the world building and the way she crafted her world was super weak in my opinion. So I just was not captivated. And it honestly turned me off vampire books for like ever. Like, I never wanted to read another vampire book ever again. And come in Rochelle Mead when she wrote her Vampire Academy series, which I really love that series, which is so sad that she's on this list as well for another one of her series. But yeah, so it's just the female role model is something I really, really can't, like, almost, like, even defend. Like, I just don't like that stuff. But I also had a lot of problem with her world building. And also how she treated Jacob as a character. I don't think I could ever forgive her for that. I had a really, really big problem with that. But again, no hate. I would never, like, attack her on Twitter just because I think that that's just silly and childish. But it was not my favorite. So again, that's why I'm not the biggest fan of Twilight. But I did finish it, so I feel like I can at least, like, you know, participate in the conversation. But there are some books I just won't read. I'll talk about those later. But yeah, so that's my thoughts on Twilight in a nutshell. Sorry if you guys have heard this 97 times, but that's my overall thoughts. The next book I'm going to chat about is a book that I've talked about a while, and it's We Were Animals by Joshua Gaylord. This was a pick from the Book High Book Club pick of the month, and it just was the first and only book that they ever recommended to me that I really, really did not like. I really struggled with it. It was not interesting. It was not compelling, and I found the characters to just not be as fleshed out as I wanted, and I felt like the plot was not, like, the plot didn't make sense to me. Like, I struggled with that, and it was really, really violent. I'm not a big fan of violent novels either, and I read, like, I've read Illumina and Gemina and Obessa, I read all those books, so, like, violence is okay, but I felt like the way that they did it, it was almost, like, a little bit, it was a little bit too gruesome for my liking, and I didn't feel like anything that happened really had a purpose. So that was definitely not my favorite book. I did swear myself that I would actually read another book by him, but I don't know if he actually wrote anything else. I'll have to do some good researching. But it just was not my favorite. It kind of reminded me of like a version of The Hunger Games, but much more animalistic. And I thought that it was like a really weird premise, so it just was not a favorite book that I read. Especially since all the other books that I heard from that podcast became some of my favorites. So, just was not my favorite, unfortunately. This is another book that I've talked about in several videos, and that's The Darkest Mind by Mindy McGinnis. I read about this book for the first time at BookCon last year, and I wound up getting an e-galley of it, which I'm really glad I did because I didn't wind up spending any money on it. But I really struggle with unlikable characters, and this character was super unlikable, and the plot was just weird. I felt like it didn't have, like, a cohesive line, and I kept expecting there to be like a magical twist, and there really wasn't. And she was just like a horrible person, and there was no redeeming qualities in her. And I kept really relating to all the other characters in the story except for the lead. And that tells me something. If I relate to everyone but your main character, that's like a problem. So, and I know Mindy McGinnis loves to play with that type of trope, like just writing really, really unlikable characters and seeing what story you get. But for me, it just did not work. But yeah, I have not given up on Mindy McGinnis. I definitely want to check out her fantasy series eventually. So yeah, that's on my to be read list, hopefully soon. The next book that I'm going to chat about is one I also have talked about for a while, and it is unfortunately the Glittering Court series by Rochelle Mead. Rochelle Mead saved me from my vampire fear, but she did not do the same with the series. I will also preface this one by saying I was a little bit misled about this book because it's technically pitched as a fantasy series and it's lodged as a fantasy series. And I was also told that there was fairies in this, and there is no fairies. I think I went in like a little bit disappointed just because I was like, oh, there's gonna be fantasy, there's gonna be a magical world, and there wasn't. So I think I was just a little bit let down because her spectacular world building. If you have not checked out Soundless, I highly recommend that one because that's her standalone, and I really like that one. I really had a hard time connecting to the characters, and I just wanted something to pop the story, and it just didn't happen. My friend tells me that book 2 is amazing, so I might have to actually add that to my TBR, not anytime soon, but it is going to be up there hopefully soon. But it's just another book that just didn't capture me, and I felt no need to like move on. So a book that I won't read. I have no desire to read, but everyone speaks about it, so I always feel like I really can't have an opinion about it. But I'm gonna tell you guys because we're friends, right? I really don't like the 50 Shades of Grey series, and I really struggled. I really struggle hearing about it, so I don't want to give it any publicity. So I have never read the books. I have never watched the movies. I have never done anything, and it's kind of a sore spot between me and my cousin because she loves that series. But I just think it depicts a really like unhealthy relationship, and I don't know why that's being glorified in a sense. So that's my 2 cents on that. But let me know in the comments what are some books that you really struggled to read, but you actually got through, and what are your thoughts, and why do you think that I shouldn't read them if I haven't read them. But overall, I hope you guys like this video, and yeah, I'm definitely excited for the last half of this month. I have a couple of fun things planned and a couple of giveaways for June as well, so definitely keep a nose out, and I'll talk to you guys soon.